The crisp autumn air bit at my cheeks as I trudged through the dense woods of upstate New York, my rifle slung over my shoulder, following closely behind Mark, my dad's old hunting buddy. I'd agreed to this trip thinking it would be a simple escape from the chaos of college life. But as the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows over the fallen leaves, a rustle in the underbrush changed everything. Out stepped a stranger, his eyes locking onto mine with an intensity that made my heart skip a beat. And in that moment, I knew my world was about to unravel. My name is Alex Thompson, a 22-year-old sociology major at NYU, trying to navigate the expectations of a conservative family back in rural Pennsylvania. Dad had insisted I join Mark on this annual deer hunt, saying it would toughen me up and give me some real-world experience away from the city liberals. Mark was in his mid-40s, a burly ex-Marine with a no-nonsense attitude, the kind of guy who believed in God, guns, and the American dream. We'd set up camp in a secluded cabin near the Adirondacks, and the first day had been uneventful. Tracking trails, sharing stories around the fire about old times. But that evening, as we split up to cover more ground, I found myself alone, my mind wandering to the secrets I'd been burying deep inside. The stranger's name was Jordan Hale, or so he introduced himself when he emerged from the trees, his backpack slung casually over one shoulder, looking more like a lost hiker than a hunter. He was about my age, with tousled dark hair and a scruffy beard that framed a warm smile. "Lost?" he asked, his voice steady and calm, breaking the silence of the forest. I shook my head, but something in his gaze held me captive. We started talking about the beauty of the wilderness, the thrill of the hunt, and before long personal stuff slipped in. Jordan was from California, traveling cross-country after a messy breakup, seeking solace in nature. He wasn't hunting game, he was hunting peace. As the light faded, we decided to head back to my camp together for safety. Mark was already there, stoking the fire, and his eyes narrowed when he saw Jordan. "Who's this?" he grunted, sizing him up like potential prey. I introduced them, and though Mark was polite enough, I could sense the tension. Over dinner, venison stew from a previous kill, Jordan shared more about himself. He was openly gay, he said casually, as if mentioning his favorite color. Mark's fork paused mid-air, and the air grew thick. "In these parts, we don't talk about that stuff," Mark muttered, but Jordan just shrugged, unfazed. I felt a flush creep up my neck. I'd never admitted my own attractions to anyone, especially not to someone like Mark, who embodied everything my dad admired. That night, as we settled into our sleeping bags, I couldn't sleep. Jordan's presence stirred something in me. A curiosity, a pull I'd ignored for years. The next morning, Mark suggested Jordan join us for the day, perhaps to keep an eye on him, but I was secretly thrilled. We hiked deeper into the woods, and while Mark scouted ahead, Jordan and I lagged behind. "You seem tense around him," Jordan observed quietly. I confessed a bit, about my family's expectations, the pressure to be the man they wanted. Jordan listened, his empathy like a balm. "Life's too short to hide who you are," he said, and for the first time I felt seen. But conflict brewed. By afternoon we spotted a buck, and Mark took the shot, clean and precise. As we field-dressed it, Mark started ranting about the way things are going in this country, railing against those parades and agendas shoving it down our throats. Jordan didn't back down. He challenged him calmly, pointing out the humanity in everyone. The argument escalated, Mark's face reddening, accusing Jordan of being an outsider stirring trouble. I stood there, torn, my heart pounding. When Mark stormed off to the cabin, Jordan turned to me. "You don't have to agree with him, Alex. What do you think?" That question haunted me. Back at camp, the silence was deafening. Mark pulled me aside later, warning me about people like him influencing me. "Your dad wouldn't approve," he said, and it stung because I knew it was true. Yet, as the fire crackled, Jordan and I talked late into the night. He shared stories of coming out, the rejection from his own family, the freedom he found afterward. I opened up too, about the crushes I'd hidden, the fear of disappointing everyone. There was no physical spark, just an emotional connection that felt profound, like finding a missing piece. The next day, tensions peaked. We were packing up when a park ranger stopped by, routine check. Mark, still fuming, made a snide comment about Jordan's lifestyle. Loud enough for the ranger to hear, Jordan fired back, defending his right to exist without judgment. The ranger, a neutral party, diffused it, but the damage was done. Mark demanded Jordan leave, calling him a distraction. I had to choose. Side with Mark, the man who'd been like an uncle, or stand by Jordan, this stranger who'd awakened something real in me. I chose to walk Jordan to the trailhead. "Thanks for showing me it's okay to question," I said. He smiled, handing me his number. "Call me when you're ready to live your truth." As he disappeared into the woods, I felt a mix of loss and liberation. Back with Mark, the ride home was silent. He lectured me about loyalty, about not letting influences change me, but seeds were planted. Weeks later, back in the city, I couldn't shake Jordan. We texted, then called, sharing laughs and dreams. My family noticed my distraction. Dad asked if I was seeing someone. I dodged, but the internal conflict grew. Society's views, conservative roots clashing with progressive city life, mirrored my turmoil. Friends at school encouraged exploration, but the fear of backlash loomed. One evening, I confided in my roommate, who was supportive. "Love is love, man," he said. It gave me courage. I decided to visit Jordan in Philly, where he'd stopped his travels. The reunion was electric, not in passion but in honesty. We walked the streets, talking about futures, about the prejudices we'd face. But Mark had told my dad about the trip, exaggerating Jordan's influence. Dad called, furious. "What are you doing with your life, son? This isn't you." The confrontation at home was brutal. Thanksgiving dinner turned into a battlefield. Dad accused me of betraying family values. Mom cried about what the neighbors would think. My sister, more open-minded, defended me, but the divide was clear. I admitted my feelings, not just for Jordan, but for who I was. "I'm gay, Dad," I said, the words tumbling out. Silence followed, then anger. He stormed out, leaving me shattered. Jordan was my anchor through it. We built a relationship slowly, navigating the distance and doubts. But society threw curveballs. Subtle discriminations at work, judgmental stares. One night at a bar, a group harassed us, calling names. Jordan stood firm, but I hesitated, echoes of Mark's words in my head. It sparked our first fight, him accusing me of shame, me defending my pace. Reconciliation came with time. I sought therapy, joined support groups. Dad reached out eventually, awkward but trying. "I don't understand, but you're my son," he said. Mark, however, cut ties, a loss that stung. As our bond deepened, Jordan proposed a road trip, echoing how we met. In the woods again, under stars, we reflected on the journey. Love wasn't easy, but it was worth the fight. The road trip became a turning point, a chance to escape the noise and rediscover ourselves. We drove from New York to the West Coast, stopping at national parks, sharing stories that peeled back layers of our pasts. Jordan opened up about his ex, a toxic relationship that left him wary of commitment. I ran because I was scared. He admitted one night by a campfire in Yellowstone. I shared my fears too, the weight of family expectations, the societal judgments that made every public display of affection a potential battle. But harmony was short-lived. In a small town in Montana, we checked into a motel, and the clerk's disdain was palpable when he saw us together. "One bed," he sneered. Jordan brushed it off, but it gnawed at me. That evening, as we walked to dinner, a group of locals catcalled, their words laced with hate. "Faggots," one yelled. Jordan wanted to confront them, but I pulled him away, heart racing. "It's not worth it," I whispered. Later, in the room, we argued. "You can't keep hiding," he said. "That's what they want." I countered that survival sometimes meant caution. The rift grew, highlighting our differences. His boldness from years out, my caution from a sheltered upbringing. Back on the road, we patched things up, but the incident lingered. Arriving in San Francisco, Jordan's hometown, I met his friends. a vibrant LGBTQ community that embraced us. It was liberating, dancing at a club without fear, but it also amplified my internal conflict. Why can't home be like this? I wondered. Calls from Dad were strained. He was trying, attending PFLAG meetings, but progress was slow. Mom sent care packages, a silent show of love. Then came the job offer. I'd applied for a position at a nonprofit in DC advocating for LGBTQ rights. It was a dream, but it meant moving away from Jordan, who was settling back in Cali. "We can make long-distance work," he assured, but doubt crept in. During a visit to DC for the interview, I reconnected with an old high school friend, Tyler, who'd come out years ago. Over coffee, he shared his regrets about rushing into relationships. "Make sure it's real, not just rebellion," he advised. His words echoed, making me question if my feelings for Jordan were genuine or a reaction to my suppressed identity. The interview went well, but on the flight back, turmoil brewed. Jordan sensed it when I landed. "What's wrong?" he asked. I confessed my doubts, the fear that our connection was born from circumstance, not destiny. Hurt flashed in his eyes. "Is that what you think? That you're just experimenting?" The fight was intense, words flying like arrows. He accused me of internalized homophobia. I called him pushy. We slept apart that night, the silence deafening. Morning brought clarity. Over breakfast, we talked honestly. "I love you," I said, the words finally free. "But I need time to figure me out." Jordan nodded, tears in his eyes. "I get it, but don't shut me out." We decided on a break. Not a breakup, but space to grow. Back in New York, I threw myself into school, graduating with honors. The DC job came through, and I accepted. Life in the capital was a whirlwind. Advocacy work, protests, building a network. I dated casually, testing waters, but nothing compared to Jordan. We kept in touch, friendly but distant. Then tragedy struck. Dad had a heart attack. Rushing home, I found the family in disarray. In the hospital, Dad gripped my hand. "I'm proud of you, son. No matter what." It was a breakthrough. Mom hugged me tight, whispering acceptance. My sister introduced her new boyfriend, a progressive type, shifting family dynamics. Amid the recovery, Jordan called. "Heard about your dad. How are you?" His concern warmed me. I invited him to visit, and he came. Seeing him with my family was surreal. Dad polite, Mom welcoming. Over dinner, stories flowed, bridges built. That night, on the porch, Jordan and I rekindled. "I've missed you," he said. "Me too," I replied. The break had strengthened us, clarifying our love. But society tested us again. At a local event, old neighbors gossiped, stares piercing. Mark showed up unexpectedly, invited by Dad for old time's sake. Tension reignited. "Still with him?" Mark asked gruffly. I stood tall. "Yes, and happily." Mark grumbled but didn't argue, a small victory. As Dad healed, we planned a family trip, hunting, ironically. Jordan joined, hesitant but willing. In the woods, echoes of our first meeting resurfaced. Mark and Jordan even bonded over shared Marine stories. Jordan's brother had served. Barriers crumbled. Yet, challenges persisted. Work in DC exposed me to harsher realities, hate crimes, policy fights. One case hit close. A young man disowned for being gay. It mirrored my fears, fueling my passion. Jordan supported from afar, visiting often. Our relationship evolved into something solid, built on trust. We discussed futures, marriage, kids, but conservative backlash loomed, with laws threatening rights. One evening after a rally, I proposed. "Will you marry me?" Jordan's yes was joyous. Planning the wedding brought joy and stress, family invites, venue debates. Dad offered to walk me down the aisle, a tearful moment. The wedding preparations amplified every emotion, turning our lives into a pressure cooker of joy, anxiety, and confrontation. We chose a simple venue in the Hudson Valley, surrounded by the same woods where we'd met, symbolizing full circle. Invitations went out and responses varied. Jordan's family, estranged for years, surprised us by RSVPing yes. His mom's letter apologetic, a step toward reconciliation. My side was mixed. Dad and Mom enthusiastic, my sister the maid of honor, but extended relatives declined, citing moral differences. Whispers of disapproval rippled through our small town, fueling local gossip. At work, my advocacy role clashed with personal life. A high-profile case involved challenging a discriminatory law in a southern state, drawing media attention. Reporters dug into my background, and soon, our story leaked. Gay activists hunting trip romance. Headlines sensationalized it, painting us as symbols, some positive, others vilifying. Online trolls emerged, spewing hate. Disgusting agenda pushers. Jordan, now working as a freelance writer, penned an op-ed defending us, but it only fanned flames. The bachelor party, organized by friends, was meant to be fun, a weekend in Vegas. But drama ensued when Tyler, my old friend, confessed lingering feelings. "I always wondered about us," he said, alcohol loosening tongues. I shut it down gently, loyal to Jordan, but the incident sowed doubt. Was I ready for forever? Jordan sensed my unease upon return. "Talk to me," he urged. I admitted the flirtation, expecting anger, but he was understanding. "We're human, but choose us." It strengthened our bond, a test passed. Family dinner before the wedding turned contentious. Uncle Bob, a staunch conservative, cornered me. "This isn't natural, Alex. Think about the kids." I defended fiercely. "Love is natural. Hate isn't." Dad intervened, supporting me, a proud moment. But the exchange highlighted societal divides, generations clashing over progress. On the big day, nerves peaked. As I stood at the altar, Jordan opposite, vows exchanged with tears. "I promise to fight for us, every day," he said. Rings slipped on, a kiss sealed it. The reception was lively, dances and toasts. Mark attended, surprisingly, offering a gruff congratulations. "You've got guts, kid." Felt like acceptance. Honeymoon in Hawaii was bliss. Beaches, hikes, uninterrupted us. But reality intruded via news. A Supreme Court case threatening marriage equality. "We can't ignore it," Jordan said. Back home, we dove into activism, co-founding a support group for rural LGBTQ youth. Life settled into rhythm. We adopted a dog, bought a house in the suburbs of D.C. But infertility discussions arose, wanting kids, exploring surrogacy. Society's views on gay parents added layers. Adoption agencies biased, public opinions divided. Friends shared horror stories of custody battles. Then, a bombshell. Jordan's ex resurfaced, claiming unresolved issues. "I need closure," Jordan said, meeting him. Jealousy flared in me. "Is there more?" I asked. He assured no, but trust waned briefly. The meeting revealed the ex's manipulation, Jordan returning resolute. "You're my future." Work intensified. A protest turned violent, police clashing with demonstrators. I was arrested briefly, charges dropped, but the scare shook us. Jordan worried, "Is it worth the risk?" I argued yes for change. It sparked debates on safety versus activism. Family evolved too. Dad, now retired, volunteered at LGBTQ events, a transformation. Mom baked for our group meetings. But losses came. A friend succumbed to hate crime, fueling grief and resolve. As years passed, we welcomed a daughter via surrogacy, naming her Hope. Parenthood brought joy and challenges. School bullies teasing her two dads. We fought back, advocating for inclusive education. Society's progress was uneven. Wins in laws, but backlashes in communities. One evening, reflecting on our journey, Jordan asked, "Would you change anything?" "Not a thing," I replied. Our love, forged in conflict, stood strong. But external pressures mounted. A political shift threatened rights, rallies turning hostile. At one, counter-protesters targeted us, shouting slurs. Jordan was shoved, minor injury, but it ignited fear. "Maybe we should move," he suggested. I resisted. "This is our fight." The decision weighed heavy. Friends advised caution. Family urged safety. In the end, we stayed, doubling efforts. Hope's first school play, us in the audience, beaming small victories amid chaos. Raising Hope became our greatest adventure and battleground, amplifying the societal conflicts we'd navigated as a couple. At 5, she started kindergarten in a diverse DC school, but even there, prejudices lurked. A classmate's parent complained about exposing kids to alternative lifestyles, demanding we not volunteer. The principal supported us, but the incident stung. Why do they hate us? Hope asked innocently one night. Explaining bigotry to a child broke my heart. Jordan and I tag-teamed, emphasizing love and kindness. Work-life balance strained. My role at the nonprofit expanded to director, involving travel for lobbying. Jordan freelanced from home, handling most parenting. Resentment simmered. I feel like a single dad sometimes, he confessed. I promised change, cutting trips, but demands persisted. A major bill on trans rights required my presence in Congress, clashing with Hope's birthday. Choose family, Jordan urged. I did, delegating a pivotal shift. Family visits helped. Dad and Mom doted on Hope, Grandpa teaching her fishing, sans hunting. Mark, now softened, sent gifts, occasional calls mending fences. But Jordan's family remained distant, his mom's health declining without reconciliation. Go see her, I encouraged. The trip was emotional. Bedside confessions healed old wounds. I'm proud of the man you've become, she whispered. Jordan returned renewed. Society's tides turned turbulent. A wave of anti-LGBTQ legislation swept states, book bans, sports exclusions. Our group swelled, counseling affected youth. One teen, Sam, reminded me of myself, conflicted, scared. Mentoring him, I relived my journey, advising patience and courage. Then crisis. Hope School faced a bomb threat from extremists targeting woke curricula. Evacuated, she was terrified. Are we safe, Daddy? She cried. Jordan and I debated relocating to a bluer state. California? He suggested, his roots calling. Pros, acceptance, family. Cons, uprooting lives. The decision tore us, me tied to work, him prioritizing safety. Amid this personal health scare, Jordan's routine check revealed a lump, benign but frightening. What if? We pondered, drawing closer. Recovery strengthened resolve. Life too precious for constant fight. We moved to Portland, Oregon. A compromise, progressive yet nature-rich. New home, new schools. Hope thrived, making friends. I commuted for work. Jordan started a podcast on LGBTQ stories, gaining followers. But adaptation brought hurdles. Neighbors welcoming, but one family shunned us. Kids forbidden to play with Hope. They're ignorant, Jordan said. But it hurt. At a community meeting, we spoke out, gaining allies. Professionally, I led a national campaign against discrimination, testifying in hearings. Media spotlight returned, this time positive, but with backlash, death threats online. Security measures ensued, paranoia creeping. Jordan's podcast featured our story going viral. Listeners shared similar tales, building community. But controversy arose. A conservative outlet twisted it, accusing indoctrination. Debates ensued, Jordan defending eloquently. Hope, now 8, questioned her origins. Why 2 dads? We explained surrogacy, love's forms. She embraced it, drawing family portraits proudly. Anniversary trip, revisited the Adirondacks. In the cabin, reminiscing. From strangers to this, Jordan marveled. Intimacy deepened, not physical but emotional. Back home, a call from Sam. He'd come out, family rejecting. We offered shelter, becoming surrogate parents. Tested dynamics, Hope jealous, Jordan exhausted. But growth came, Sam finding footing. Societal wins. Marriage equality upheld, but fights continued. At a pride parade, we marched as a family, Hope waving flags. Empowerment amid adversity. Yet doubts lingered. Are we doing enough? I wondered. Jordan reassured. We're living authentically. That's the win. As Hope entered her teens, The complexities of our family life intertwined more deeply with the evolving landscape of American society, where progress and regression danced in uneasy tandem. At 13, she faced her first real taste of discrimination when a classmate spread rumors about her weird dads, leading to bullying that escalated to a school fight. We met with administrators, demanding action, but their response was tepid. Kids being kids. Jordan exploded in the meeting. This isn't harmless. It's hate. We pulled her out temporarily, homeschooling while suing the district for negligence. The case drew attention, allying us with other families, but it drained us emotionally and financially. Amid the lawsuit, my work hit a high. The nonprofit won a landmark ruling against workplace discrimination, celebrated nationwide. But victory was bittersweet. Backlash included protests outside our office, chants echoing old slurs. Jordan worried for my safety. "You're a target now." I brushed it off, but a brick through our window one night proved him right. Police investigated, classifying it as a hate crime, but no arrests. "We can't live in fear," I said, installing alarms, but the incident scarred hope. "Why us?" she asked, tears streaming. Explaining resilience became our mantra. Jordan's podcast evolved into a book deal, chronicling LGBTQ journeys, including ours. Promotion tours separated us, sparking loneliness. "I miss you," he texted from Chicago. I felt the strain, questioning if ambition overshadowed family. Upon return, we recommitted, scheduling date nights, family outings. Sam, now in college, visited often, a success story. "You saved me," he said, but his presence highlighted our childless regrets. No siblings for hope. We discussed adoption, but bureaucracy for gay couples remained hurdles, despite laws. Societal shifts accelerated. A new administration pushed inclusive policies, but conservative states rebelled, passing Don't Say Gay laws. Our group lobbied fiercely, Hope joining youth activism, speaking at rallies. "I'm proud to have two dads," she declared, viral clip inspiring many. But it painted a target. Online harassment targeted her. We monitored socials, teaching digital safety. Personal milestones mixed with turmoil. Our 10th anniversary. A vow renewal in the woods, intimate with close ones. Dad, frail but present, gave a toast. Love wins. Mark attended, evolved, apologizing for past ignorance. "I was wrong," he admitted, but health issues resurfaced. My stress-induced hypertension required meds. Jordan urged balance. "We need you healthy." I stepped back from leadership, consulting instead. Hope's coming out as by added layers. "Like father, like daughter," Jordan joked, but we supported fully. Her first crush, a girl, brought joy and worry. Will she face what we did? School was better, but prejudices lingered. A family crisis. Mom's passing united us. At the funeral, relatives who'd shunned us offered condolences, some genuine. Dad moved in temporarily, bonding with Hope over stories. As we navigated, our love endured, a beacon. Reflecting one evening, Jordan said, "From that hunting trip to here, unbelievable." I agreed, grateful for the path. The lawsuit settled in our favor, funds aiding scholarships for LGBTQ youth. Hope thrived, heading to college, majoring in social justice. In quiet moments, doubts surfaced. Had we shielded her enough? Pushed too hard? But her hug goodbye reassured. "You taught me to fight for what's right." Life continued, advocacy ongoing. Jordan's book became a bestseller, sparking dialogues. We mentored couples, sharing wisdom. Yet the world remained divided. Was our happiness worth the constant battle? In the end, yes, but it begged the question. Is true equality achievable in a society built on division, or merely an illusion we chase? Was the protagonist justified in prioritizing his personal happiness over familial and societal expectations? True or false?